2012, 4 years ago. It's about magicians in a mental hospital. One of the characters' names is Allison, and she gets sexually abused by her father. And when women get raped, it becomes so dramatically disassociate, they can leave their bodies and have out-of-body experiences. So Allison is abused by her father, so she learns to do this at will and leave her body, and then she can spy on the doctors, etc. In this scene that I'm about to read, introduces the shadow people, which, well, I'll just read it. The sun's afterglow seemed to paint the underbellies of cloud with hues of subtle pink. The sun disappeared at the horizon, leaving only a faint thread of reddish light. The grid-like bars on the window cast dusky shadows across the wall. There was the shadow of a tree in the yard as it swayed in the tumultuous winds. The wind made a dolorous sound, like an animal in horrific pain. There was also a shadow of a little girl sitting on the ground, bouncing over a ball over and over again. The others will be back soon, the girl said quietly. Who are you? Jack inquired. I'm one of the shadow people, the girl answered. Most of us feed off negative emotions like fear, so think happy thoughts, she giggled. We only come out at night and can't stand direct sunlight. The others are here, I have to go, the girl explained. The door burst open, catching Jake by surprise. Checks, a nurse droned. She began to write frantically in shorthand. Then she disappeared down the corridor as quickly as she'd appeared. Jake poked his head out into the corridor and realized it was almost dinner time. He slipped into plush slippers and sauntered down the corridor into the dining room. Dexter waved his hand at Jake and pointed to an available seat. Jake joined Dexter and Alice at the table, a steaming tray of food in front of them. Turkey, mashed potatoes, and green beans. We need to pull an all-nighter. You and Allison are going to spy on Dr. Blackwell tonight. We know he's up to something. It has to do with the shadow people, Dexter said. Jake finished every last bite on his plate, saving his strength for the ordeal ahead. Allison came around midnight. She effortlessly passed through Jake's door. She hovered above Jake's bed as he lay on his back, his fingers interlaced behind his head. Jake was not asleep but resting. He was aware of a vague shape hovering above his bed. Allison's dream's body was like a fluid that could constantly change shape. She touched him with her long, slender fingers. They felt cool on his face. Then she kissed him with her voluptuous lips. Jake began to stir. I thought that would get your attention. You and I are going flying, just you and me, Allison said. She grabbed Jake by his wrist and pulled him out of his body like a snake that sheds its skin. He looked down on his body as he passed through the ceiling. His dream body was like a fluid and 100 times more sensuous than his old body. He kissed Allison on the cheek and could feel a wave of pleasure undulating through his being. Come on, we have work to do, Allison instructed. They were now on the 5th floor, and Dr. Blackwell's door was left ajar. Dr. Blackwell is like an evil, sort of megalomaniacal doctor. They were on the 5th floor, and Dr. Blackwell's door was left ajar. They could hear ominous voices emanating from inside the room. There was also a chilly draft that sent shivers down their spine. The room was well lit. There was a column of black smoke in the center of the room. It was about as wide as a tree trunk and seemed to be twirling. It was spinning as wildly as a rolling dervish. There were books spread across the floor, their pages flapping in the wind the column generated. Many of the books looked rare and had their origins in the occult. There were faces in the smoke, contorted in agony, with mouths wide open and eyes bugged out. Dr. Blackwell stood in a chair facing the column of smoke, with his hands neatly folded across his lap. He seemed to be in a trance state, as though his mind and intellect were somewhere else. Dr. Blackwell was unaware that the forces he had summoned were beyond his control. He was like a sailor at the mercy of a boisterous sea, being tossed from wave to wave. All of his knowledge of psychology and occult could not save him from a force that's profoundly evil. The evil spread from room to room like some ominous black tide. The darkness gathered around one patient's door, an older woman with dementia. She was an easy target in her fragile state. I guess I'll end there, but I want to end on a more cheerful note than that. I'm into Jungian psychology. I'm going to read a short poem because I'm into Jungian psychology. Carl Jung, the Swiss psychologist. Here it is. This is Rituals Before Writing. One of my favorite rituals to get myself into the mood to write is taking a very long hot bath. Psychologist, or should I say Carl Jung more specifically, notes that water represents the unconscious of the mother. This is not very important. The general idea is to stay in the bathtub. till all 20 of your digits are fully pruned. Thank you guys, and have a good night.